Hello and welcome to the special broadcast. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. Now, 2 vaccines against coronavirus have been approved in India, and that's how the new year started. But as the week progressed, there were controversies and then preparations also to roll out the mega vaccine. For the next half hour, we'll tell you all about the vaccines that India is about to get jabbed with. But first, let's rewind and relive the moments when we all said the vaccine is here with a sigh of relief.
The new year brought the magic bullet against the raging COVID-19 for India, as 2 vaccine candidates got the nod from the authorities. In a major breakthrough, the Drugs Controller General of India approved 2 vaccines for emergency use. On 3rd January, the DGCI gave its nod to Serum Institute of India's Covishield and Bharat Biotech's Covaxin vaccines. The developers, however, will continue with their clinical trials.
Phase 2 clinical trials were conducted in approximately 800 subjects, and results have demonstrated that the vaccine is safe and provides a robust immune response. The subject expert committee has reviewed the data on safety and immunogenicity of the vaccine and recommended for grant of permission for restricted use in emergency situation.
Both Covishield and Covaxin, which is India's first indigenous vaccine, will be administered in 2 doses each.
In the beginning, it will be basically Serum Institute of India, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which will be given. They already have 50 million doses available, and they will be able to give that to the initial phase where we will vaccinate around 3 crore people.
India's progress on the vaccine front received global approval. The World Health Organization chief tagged PM Modi in a tweet and praised India for approving the 2 vaccines. He added that India, as the world's largest vaccine producer, can help end the pandemic. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates praised India's leadership in scientific innovation and vaccine manufacturing capability. The billionaire philanthropist tweeted saying that it is great to see India's leadership in COVID vaccine manufacturing capability as the world works to end the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, as soon as the vaccines were given approval, there was a ton of controversies that really erupted. Politicians bickered, rival pharmaceutical companies traded barbs before all settled down to finally roll up their sleeves and prepare for what's important for the rollout of the vaccine.
On 3rd January, once the DGCI gave approval to both Covishield developed by Serum Institute of India and to Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech and ICMR, there was relief, but questions too were raised. Senior Congress leaders Shashi Tharoor and Jairam Ramesh raised concerns over Bharat Biotech's Made in India Covaxin. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor called the approval premature and dangerous, asking people to avoid its use till full trials are over. Another senior Congress leader, Jairam Ramesh, sought the health minister's clarification on why internationally accepted protocols on phase 3 trials were being modified. The Samajwadi Party chief also jumped in the ring with his dose of cynicism.
देखिए, मैं तो नहीं लगवाऊंगा अभी वैक्सीन. मैंने अपनी बात कह दी. और वो भी बीजेपी लगाएगी, उसका भरोसा करूंगा मैं? अरे जाओ भाई. समाजवादी पार्टी या मेरा खुद का बयान किसी भी साइंटिस्ट, किसी भी वॉलंटियर जो लोग उसमें शामिल हुए हैं, चाहे वो किसी तरह के एक्सपर्ट्स हों, उन पे किसी पे सवाल नहीं है. हम तो ये जानना चाहते हैं कि गरीब को फ्री कब मिलेगा.
While there were doubts and concerns from all sides, the ruling party defended its government.
जिस तरह कांग्रेस के नेता, जिस तरह सपा के नेता, जिस तरह की भाषा बोल रहे हैं, जिस तरह की जबान बोल रहे हैं, लोकतंत्र में बोलने की आजादी है, लेकिन क्या विपक्ष में रहने का मतलब है सिर्फ गुमराह करना, हर चीज का विरोध करना?
2 प्रजाति बहुत परेशान है वैक्सीन आने के बाद. कोरोना वायरस बहुत परेशान है और कांग्रेस पार्टी बहुत परेशान है. जहां तक कांग्रेस का सवाल है, समय समय पर हमने कांग्रेस को म्यूटेंट वैरायटी में बदलते हुए देखा है। ये कांग्रेस का म्यूटेशन होते रहता है।
As the war of words continued among the politicians, the two vaccine makers key to India's war on coronavirus entered into a public spat over the efficacy of their products.
There is no other vaccine, including ours, made in India and others, Russia, China, or even India, that have proven efficacy at all. And efficacy means you have to vaccinate 25,000 people and show that the vaccine actually protects you, not just a few hundred or a few thousand people to show safety and immunogenicity.
Covaxin phase 3 efficacy trial is going on. Out of 26,000 people, 25 trial sites, we have placebo control. This is probably the largest efficacy trial probably in India or even in the developing world. And it's a 2-dose schedule, and we have already 24,000 people who are vaccinated. And I'm proud to say that I'm really grateful to all the volunteers. In the interest of Indian company, in the interest of the clinical research, they came forward without any financial incentive. They came forward and volunteered themselves. I'm grateful to them.
The DCGI's approval to Covaxin is conditional.
The subject expert committee has reviewed the data on safety and immunogenicity of the vaccine and recommended for grant of permission for restricted use in emergency situation in public interest as an abundant precaution in clinical trial mode.
And we have done phase 1 clinical trial, 2-dose, 90% immunogenicity, 4-fold seroconversion. Because we use 90%, we get 100% seroconversion. But 4-fold is a benchmark in a vaccine field. So 4-fold is the one what we use as a thing. And in phase 2, we again 4-fold seroconversion, more than 98% immunogenicity data.
What was being questioned was a clinical trial mode approval. Since the 2nd of January, various arms of the government continued to defend the move, calling it a backup in case of a surge, especially against the newly detected UK strain.
That the benefits that we have achieved over the last 10 months, the decline in the number of cases, the decrease in our mortality, should not get suddenly sort of displaced, and we start seeing an increase in number of cases because of this variant stage. We don't have an effective antiviral drug. What we have is vaccines. So we must be proactive, and that is why in an emergency situation where there is suddenly an increase in number of cases and we need to vaccinate a large number of people, the Bharat Biotech vaccine will be used.
24 hours after the public feud, the two companies smoked the peace pipe. In a joint statement, Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech said they were committed towards providing global access to coronavirus vaccines. The vaccine makers further added that saving lives and livelihoods and ensuring economic normalcy were most important to them.
With so many controversies raging around the vaccine's approval, we sought clarity from the authorities of what the rider emergency use really meant. Listen in to what Niti Aayog member V.K. Paul has to say.
The phase 3 clinical trials is still going on. The efficiency data is not available, not just to us, but also to government. And you've gone ahead and given emergency use licensure. Now the question is, while of course everyone is desperately waiting for a vaccine and they want it to be rolled out as soon as possible so that people can get the injection, get on with their lives, but are we rushing the process through? What is it that you wish to say to those who are skeptics, who are not convinced with the fact that efficiency data is not available, yet clearances have been given? You're hoping, and you've given an elaborate reason for why you believe that it shouldn't have any effect, but isn't equal to 100%. So basically, we're giving clearance without being 100%. Is that correct?
Well, Rahul, that is why it is emergency use authorization. Remember, an emergency use authorization, even in the case of any other vaccine, is in the face of a relatively less complete data and information. That's why it's an emergency authorization. And remember the other condition, which covers the point that you're making. It is said in the recommendation, and I support that when you use this vaccine, unlike the Covishield vaccine, you will use it in the clinical trial mode. This is a very critical conditionality attached to the use of ICMR Bharat Biotech vaccine. That means those who will receive this vaccine will be followed up and will be treated as if they are part of a clinical trial. They will be consenting to be a part of receiving the vaccine. In any case, all vaccines are voluntary to be taken, and they'll be followed up as if they are in a clinical trial, and they'll be watched, they'll be observed in a very keen manner. And thirdly, remember, the clinical trial goes on, and as it unfolds, as the efficacy data becomes available, further decisions by the DGCI would be taken. So it is, you see, why we have gone for this, I believe, is because there is an emergency situation. It is our guarantee against particularly potential mutations that may vitiate the utility of other vaccines. And God forbid, if we have a massive outbreak of such variants of the virus, we would be in a fix. And this vaccine is therefore a special guarantee for us. At the same time, it is to be operated within the system which is scientifically valid and appropriate under the oversight of the clinical trial regime.
Welcome back. Let's now get you this detailed explainer by my colleague Nabila, who brings you the answers of some and hopefully most of the frequently asked questions on the vaccines that India's approved.
Now we're going to take you through some of those frequently asked questions, FAQs on the COVID-19 vaccine. Let's first of all tell you that the vaccination here, many might ask if it is mandatory or it's your choice. Well, it is your choice. It is voluntary. That's the response that we've got from scientific experts as well. It's all up to you if you want to get vaccinated. But remember, if you do get vaccinated, you're keeping yourself and those around you safe. Now, is the vaccine developed in a short of time safe to use? Well, the answer is absolutely yes. It's got a nod from the regulatory body, and after extensive safety and efficacy studies, finally the Drugs Controller General of India has given an approval. So it is safe. Now, should COVID recovered people also be vaccinated? Experts and scientists say that the jabs will ensure stronger immunity to those even if you have gotten infected one round. Now, can an infected person be vaccinated? Now, of course, that question also answered by those experts saying that you've got to avoid getting vaccinated just in that 14-day window. After that, you could get vaccinated. And it is good for those who've already been infected one round with coronavirus. You can get the shot irrespective. Does India have the capacity to store these vaccines? Now, India indeed does have a robust supply chain and logistical chain, but with the temperatures that these vaccines need, it appears that India, through its dry run so far over the last few days, they're ensuring that logistics is ramped up to quite an extent. A dry run has been successful, and we do know that the robust systems are already worked upon across the length and breadth of the country. Now, it has been strengthened immensely to ensure the vaccination process is seamless. Now, the sixth question here is, will vaccine in India be safe and effective? Yes, most definitely it is safe and effective if taken into account all the studies and all the trials that's been carried out over thousands of volunteers. The study of those volunteers in the survey tells that both these vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, are absolutely safe. How to know eligibility for the vaccination? Now, the only way you would know is to register your number. There is a CoWIN app, but details on that is still hazy. The government says that right now it is the government's duty to ensure that they reach out to the high-risk groups. But a regular person might get vaccinated only a little later after the frontline and high-risk groups are vaccinated the first round, and data of that is already being collected at various centers. Information on that will be clear in due course of time, but do remember, it's your registered phone number with which you will be tracked. What doctors have, in fact, particularly said that if you do want to get yourself enrolled, then you need to carry your documents. When you say documents, your ID card, any government-approved ID card, your bank ID, your passbook, your passport, your Aadhaar, any of that would do to get your vaccine shot, if the identification is what matters there. How will you get to know on the vaccine schedule? Of course, after registration, you will get an SMS or a code based on the certificate, and a QR code might come to you through that message, and you will be given more information if your number is registered. Now, then vaccine doses at what intervals? A big question on how many doses you need to take and between what interval. Two doses is what Covishield and Covaxin says specifically, that you need to take two doses in about 28 days interval. But Serum Institute CEO says that it is most effective if you take the first dose and the second dose in a gap of 2.5 to 3 months. Now then you have a question about when would antibodies develop after you take the vaccine. Well, it's likely after 2 weeks post the second dose that you will develop antibodies. In fact, again, reports and experts suggest that the first dose itself, there's a good amount of antibody buildup, but with the second dose, you are stronger and more immune. Now, what precautions should you take at the vaccination site? Of course, that question would remain. Take COVID protocols that are in place, observe them, and take a 30-minute rest and just be calm. Monitor yourself, and the only possible side effect would be a mild fever right on that day and a slight swelling around the arm where the jab is, where you get the jab. And apart from that, there has been no adverse effects reported.
The world is now working through the new mutant virus strain by a further lockdown, while 34 countries as of 5th January are carrying out a vaccination drive. Here's a detailed report on how the world is coping with the virus and also has started off the vaccination drive. Over 76,000 deaths since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. Nearly 61,000 infections in a day, the highest ever for the United Kingdom. The island nation is now under strict lockdown, the third one so far. The country, which has started a vaccine drive, is struggling to get a grip on the new strain of the virus that's 70% more transmissible.
It's clear that we need to do more together to bring this new variant under control while our vaccines are rolled out. In England, we must therefore go into a national lockdown which is tough enough to contain this variant. That means the government is once again instructing you to stay at home.
The British Prime Minister described the coming days as the hardest yet, while imposing the toughest lockdown in UK. All schools and colleges are shut. Citizens can leave their homes for only emergency purposes. Restaurants can deliver food, but not alcohol. Only 6 people are allowed at weddings. Outdoor exercise allowed only once per day. Outdoor sports venues are shut, but events like the English Premier League are allowed. The lockdown is backed by the Labour Party, which is otherwise critical of the government's role in controlling the pandemic.
At this darkest of moments, we need a new national effort to rekindle the spirit of last March, to come together and to do everything possible. So Labour will support this lockdown. We will vote for it in Parliament. We will join in this national effort.
I'm by the Oxford Street station and you can see only essential stuff is open here. Let me take you around and show you all these shops that would be normally buzzing with sales and people actually are shut down. This entire crossroad has a series of wonderful shops and restaurants. All of this is absolutely shut down.
The situation is no different in Germany. Confirmed cases in the country have crossed 1.8 million. Over 37,000 have died so far. Germany has imposed stricter norms till January 31st. Non-essential shops are shut. Restaurants, bars and entertainment venues are closed. Social gatherings are limited to 5 people over the age of 14. Movement of citizens is limited to 15 kilometers in areas having more than 200 cases per 100,000 residents in 7 days. Apart from Europe, United States is also struggling with the virus, as the US reported as many as 3,900 COVID deaths in 24 hours. That's a new record, and this was on 5th January. Globally, COVID-19 cases have surpassed 86 million mark with more than 1.8 million deaths. To build herd immunity and to control the spread, the vaccines are here. So far, 34 countries have started vaccination drive. US and UK were the first 2 countries to start vaccinating their people. Till 5th January, US has vaccinated more than 50 lakh people with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine and the Moderna vaccine.
Then comes China with more than 45 lakh vaccinated with Sinopharm vaccine as per details available till 31st December 2020. Israel ranks third with 13 lakh and 70,000 people jabbed with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. UK, on the other hand, at number 4, has crossed the 13 lakh mark with the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine and Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. UAE at number 5 has vaccinated 8,26,301 with Sinopharm vaccine till 5th January. Russia, Germany, Italy, Canada and others follow. There are countries like the Balkan region in Europe who fear lack of enough supply of vaccine for their population. Most of them are relying on COVAX, a global vaccine procurement agency set up by the World Health Organization and global charity groups to address rising inequities of vaccine distribution.
Well, the vaccine is finally here, but how will it reach you and me? Preeti Chaudhary explains the process of the vaccination drive put forth by the government.
The means to an end, from manufacturing to finally a vaccine shot being administered. What is going to be the entire process of India's vaccination drive, viewers, which starts on the 14th of January? How will the vaccine actually reach you? 3 phases it's divided in. So from manufacturer, the vaccine now will be transported through air towards primary vaccine stores. Now these stores are large places where the vaccine is to be stored and which are temperature controlled, which is extremely important. The 4 stores are located in Karnal, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. Then in refrigerated vans, they are going to be carried through to state vaccine centers. Once again, I can't stress enough when I talk about refrigerated vans because each vaccine has a different temperature it needs to be stored in and one cannot meddle in that. There are about 37 state vaccine stores in this country. They store vaccines in bulk and distribute it further. From there, these refrigerated vans will take vaccines to district vaccine centers. This is how it's going to be dispersed point by point. From the district centers, the vaccines will be transported to the primary health centers. So phase 1 is about transportation. Viewers, this is going to be the biggest vaccination drive in the history of mankind, in India as well. So let's move on now to phase 2. Next, there would be a vaccine carriers where the vaccine is going to be carried to sub-center session site. It is a center, to break it down for you, where vaccinations will be finally administered. This is where, viewers, you've seen on your television screen multiple dry runs taking place. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The same place over here, registration will take place. This can happen online too or through, most importantly, the Co-Win app. Once your name is registered, you will be allocated a specific slot. Well, the fact that you have this app is there is no need to stand in queues. And finally, you will be vaccinated. Once again, phase 2 is all about identification and issuing of shots. All right, now comes phase 3, an extremely crucial phase. In phase 3, you will get an acknowledgement, an SMS on your telephone number, the number that you registered through the Co-Win app, and a unique health ID is going to be created. A QR code based digital certificate will be sent via the application to those who have been administered both doses of the coronavirus vaccine. Then there will be an AEFI. What does that mean? Adverse effects following immunization. Reporting, which means that if you have had an adverse reaction or an impact of the vaccine, that can and should be reported, is an inbuilt system. All this information will be available to the government and to you as well, as transparent as that. Conclusively, in phase 3, post-vaccination follow-up will also take place. This is the entire comprehensive system of the vaccination drive.
And that's all we have time for in this special broadcast. Remember, let me once again say it, the vaccine is here, but it is a voluntary choice whether to get jabbed or to choose not to. Keep watching India Today. We'll continue getting you the latest news and updates.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, Like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.